So yeah, who wants to kick us off? Anyone feel that they're in their character's mind enough at this moment to describe their leaping into the fray?
I was going to say, we had two people jump in an elevator.
Oh, you brought the elevator back up, right?
Yeah, the elevator's on its way up.
I think it's up.
It is up.
As a matter of fact,
When Kuman tripped his leap, he landed on just the floor because the elevator arrived. I actually envisioned it much more hilariously, which is how it should be, in that Kuman tripped and fell in the elevator shaft and fell through the hole that Tetz made as the elevator came up. So he didn't fall very far, but he came through the top of the elevator, and then the doors opened.
Ding!
Lizzie standing right there.
He's just pressing it, and he disappears for a second. Ding! And he's just right there on the floor. That's awesome.
So wait, I just want to be clear. Dottie and I are standing in front of a now open elevator, which is full of an Imperial intelligence squad, a very pissed off leader, and Tetz and Kuman in some state of not disarray.
Indeed. Let's get Tetz's perspective, and then maybe we'll come back to you, Lizzie.
Tetz's perspective is, of course, as the greatest Jedi in the galaxy. The onus fell on him to solve this problem of the bad guy getting away, and so he solved it by jumping down the turbo lift shaft, because that's what the greatest Jedi in the galaxy would do. He wasn't quite expecting the glass ceiling. He hadn't really noticed it there. It was clear, when
of course he didn't know
before.
the glass ceiling.
Yeah, so he busted right through that and onto John Jonah, and then John Jonah was mouthing off about, oh good, I wanted to have a conversation with you, even though they're both sitting there covered in blood and glass and stuff. And he manages to dodge while the stormtroopers tried to shoot him at point blank range. And now he's alive. Here's finally his chance to prove himself as the greatest Jedi in the galaxy.
So the one thing I really, really want to know is, as Tetz leapt in the elevator shaft and failed the athletics check and fell, what went through his mind? What did he say to himself as he's falling through the air?
Well, he's going, yes, this is it. This is, ow! And then it's back to, yes, this is still it. I'm alive. So here we go.
That's great.
It was there was never anything negative except for the point where his face hit glass. That was kind of less than ideal. But other than that, everything's going perfectly according to plan. He landed on John Jonah, so he hit that guy still. So it's all good.
He hit his target.
Yeah. It's just that glass got in the way, and it was a minor inconvenience.
So, Lizzie, you should know what you see at this moment is Dottie's kind of a little bit around the corner, working on the computer innards of the turbo lift, and you were standing in front of the elevator shaft, and the exterior doors were open, but the interior doors weren't. Kuman falls through the top, it opened, and the elevator arrives, and those doors open up, and in front of you is John Jonah laying or kind of propped up, sitting on the ground. Tetz is kind of finagled his way as if he's been like doing poor gymnastics. He hasn't stood up. He's just kicked his legs around. So he's kind of tangled in John Jonah. And Kuman is on all fours right next to them and has just looked up to see the troopers looking down at him with blasters. And that is what you see as soon as those doors open up. How does Lizzie react? What does she think specifically?
Well, the first thing she notices is that she's staring at Kuman's ass.
And how hot How hot is that ass? That is the question.
She doesn't have time to notice because the second thing she notices is the blasters. I have a question about your description. Do any of our guys have weapons, and what is John Jonah doing with his hands?
You all have weapons of sorts.
But I mean, like, Tetz is doing some Gymkata thing in the elevator. Like, does he have a gun, a blaster? Like,
Tetz doesn't believe in blasters.
I think he's carrying melee weapons.
Those are uncivilized weapons of he goes for the more civilized things.
because
Like
it's more civilized to beat people to death at a
With a wooden club, right?
very okay, yeah, just checking.
At least intimate.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
It's more honorable. See, Tetz is all about the honorable Jedi thing. That's why they use lightsabers. That was a more civilized weapon.
Oh, cool.
A more civilized aged.
Got it. So does Kuman have, I mean, he's in pretty close. Okay, but Tetz doesn't use a blaster. That's fine. He's in close quarters. Does he have anything, or is he his own weapon right now?
Tetz is always his own weapon.
I think that's what he primarily relies on, being his own weapon. He does, mechanically, he has an advantage being that everyone on the elevator is considered engaged, meaning that they are all in hand-to-hand combat with one another. And so blasters have a higher percentage chance of missing at this range.
Which brings me to my question about John Jonah. What's in his hands?
His hands are empty. He might have maybe a little grip of Tetz's vest or something along those lines. But he's got some of the cuts and bruises on his face that Tetz also has, having landed on him with the shards of glass. He's mostly just trying to orient himself to the situation. So he currently has nothing in his hands. You guys spent a triumph, I think it was,
To get the
for him
data.
to drop the data pad, and Kuman is falling on top of it.
Okay.
So are we doing character dialogue now, or are we starting the engagement?
So we rolled initiative, so nobody can take
Stalling.
actions until we start initiative, because there's the order to do
We
that.
roll like the light side, dark side to see the tokens.
Tokens are on your character sheet. Even though we're on part 4, we're handling this as if it was one session. So we haven't re-rolled that.
Oh, okay.
So before we get into the combat, and I know I haven't answered your question, what does she think? Because right now she's just thinking it's all worked up. But what are her options to increase the survivability of? I don't know what the game can do. Like, I don't know what the system can do. So
You can almost do anything you want.
It's
I magically wish they all went away and we just were left with 10,000 credits instead of the data pad.
I don't think you have enough light side tokens for that. No, but to try and more seriously answer your question, having gone through the process of rolling our initiative, your opponents are in combat. So they are. It's clear that they're going to make combat actions against your group. Lizzie, depending on what route she wants to go, can join the fight essentially when it's a PC turn, because you guys are going to alternate and decide who takes the turns in a round for this combat. So it's a bit more linear in who acts when and described, but you don't have to take a combat action. It's just when it becomes Lizzie's PC slot, she can choose any of the normal actions to take, and can use any skill at that set. Anything that you can kind of describe within reason can give you guys a boost on the battlefield. So you have sweeping power in the sense of the narrative to adjust things and have the enemies react to it. So if you tell Dottie to close the doors, or if you tell him to move the elevator down and he rolls the computer's checks to do so, that'll happen so long as he succeeds. You also, a lot of people end up using their leadership skill during combat to either intimidate the enemy or boost their allies. If you give orders that you want to be followed, you can roll a leadership check. And this is maybe a house rule. I may be describing this poorly, but how we've done it is you roll the leadership check, and then that gives boosts or upgrades as makes sense by the roll to allies who follow those orders. We don't make it they're compelled, they have to do the order, but if they follow the order that Lizzie sets out, then they get bonus dice for doing that kind of thing. So you can be commander general of the combat and just run it, or you can fight yourself, or you can fleeing is definitely an option if you can find another exit. Currently, the roll to find other exits are failed, so there's nothing that you know of to leave with other than the turbo lift.
Okay.
So from a player perspective, one of the things that I'm concerned about is if you look on the turn order, we've got a PC slot and then an NPC slot and then PC slots. And when that NPC slot goes, that's going to be probably the stormtroopers firing on Tetz, and he's pretty close to down, so he's not going to be able to take much of anything. And my recommendation is to have Tetz go first, just so that he gets a chance to act before he goes unconscious.
It's not a bad idea.
I have a plan and a character reason of why I should go first. But that's why I'm just waiting until we start the thing, just to roll it. So I'm just throwing that out there. So if you want me to go ahead with the plan as players, just tell me. But if it's neutral, I have a very strong character reason why I would just jump right in.
Well, since we ended a session and we're starting with combat, feel free to discuss said plan. I'm not putting a GM limit on before you have to start actions. You guys can discuss what it is you want to do and strategize. As boring as that will be for anyone who watches this video in the future.
Yeah.
So now there's no plan?
Yeah, there's no plan.
Okay.
All right.
Just checking.
Then I think Ted should go first, and we should see what should happen after that. Because his turn will wildly change things, maybe. Or not.
Is there any other discussion that you would like to have before you enter combat?
I love that expression on Jessica's face.
No.
Okay.
Lizzie's just very concerned about the safety of everyone right now. Very concerned.
To bring us back into it, you have Kuman, trust me, elevator arrives, open it up, there he is. So trust me, elevator, Kuman's ass, and I guess Test's going first if you guys give him the PC slot.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, so the last thing John Jonah said was something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm glad you joined me. I was looking forward to a chance."
I was hoping to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, hoping to have a conversation with you. And Tetz...
The conversation was emphasized.
Yeah. Tetz is bloody. He kind of drags himself up John Jonah's torso. You know, he drags himself up and he's holding him at the front. He says, I have only one thing there's only one thing I got to say to you. You should have taken the less physical path. And then he headbutts him, or attempts to anyway. So I'm going to give a boost die because he kind of aimed it with his preparation thing.
Okay.
And then he's going to go swing in. And it's upgraded once, right? This guy's a rifle? Yeah, okay.
And he does have a melee defense.
Ha! Oh, I got to add a black die.
Yep.
Oh, shucks. I don't know where those green dice came from, but
Did it roll?
oh, no wonder I succeeded the first time. There's extra green dice hiding in the roller.
Oh, it's probably the initiative from the troopers a while back.
Yep.
Do you want to just re-roll, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll re-roll.
I didn't even see the roll happen. It didn't tell me, so it's like it never happened.
Cool.
Always take the reroll when you fail.
Right.
I hate the
When he rerolls for my benefit, and I'm sorry everyone watching, can we talk through the dice again? Because really, I haven't been in combat since we played all together in person, and I don't remember what any of it does.
Sure. So the blue one's a boost die, and that's from the fact that he aimed. Blue one did nothing. The green ones are kind of ability dice, and that's because Brawl uses strength. Yellow is his proficiency. He's done some fighting and stuff with that. The yellow's better than the green. The black die is setback. It's the opposite of the blue one.
Why do you have the black die? How did you know you needed to roll that?
Because Andrew told me that John Jonah has 1 melee defense, and melee defense adds a black die to a melee attack. And any sort of brawl, any sort of melee attack has a difficulty of 2, and so it'd be 2 purple die. But also, John Jonah is what's considered an adversary, and so that upgrades one of his dice to a red die, and so that's why there's a red die there too.
Okay, so your 2 green die and yellow die, and maybe also your blue die, are opposed by the black, purple, and red dice.
That's correct.
Gotcha. And then one more time about the symbols. We've got 2 explosions and an upside down penguin.
So explosions are successes. That means that he successfully headbutted John Jonah to the face with his bleeding face himself. And then the other thing is called an advantage, and it's sort of like the alliance symbol, but we can use it for we can spend it for extra things that happen besides him successfully hitting him.
Like not dying?
Like, I could have, one thing that I could do is Tetz could be so thrilled with headbutting John Jonah in the face finally that he recovers 1 strain, and I think that's what I'll do.
So what's the damage?
The damage is... I forget what rules are we playing, the official rules, so it's a +1 just from a simple success.
Yes.
Total damage is 5. Pierce 1.
All right. So 5 pierce 1.
Yep.
So John Jonah takes the headbutt right in his nose. It's like, and he hauls off and tries to clock you right across the face. Have you any defense to account for?
No. Jedis don't need defense.
And so...
That's a lot of dice.
John Jonah, he's holding his nose, and he swipes at you, and Tetz leans back just at the right moment. But as he does, John Jonah's fist comes right across the face and goes right under his chin, and he pulls because he fails to connect. And he yanks this amulet right off of Tetz's neck. And he's now holding it.
She yells, Tetz and Kuman grab the data pad, get out of the elevator. Dottie, close the doors, get the elevator to go away. And she shoves over a couch, or a table, whatever's, because they're in this opening, like a foyer or something, right? Like some kind of lobby situation.
Yeah. You're in a hotel, so you're like in the...
oh, right. It opens up into the presidential suite. Right. Yeah. So she starts knocking over the available furniture to create cover. And the room's already been tossed, so it shouldn't be that hard. But she's trying to create cover, which she then dives behind.
Okay.
And I also want to make a perception check to try to see what else is in the room, if there's another way out, or other, anything else she could use to her advantage, fire extinguisher or, like whatever is available. An old pot of coffee. She doesn't care.
Yeah. So
I
that's
don't-
going to be a hard
Checks.
roll. 3 purples. Just do your perception there.
Okay. And can I don't know how the points work. Can I do anything to add?
You already have a blue dice added uncanny senses.
Mm-hmm.
And you took cover and you gave, orders are incidental. So if you took 2 strain, you could take another maneuver to heighten your senses, we'll say, essentially aim your perception. It's not how it's supposed to work, but it sounds good to me.
Okay. I don't think I've ever taken strain in this entire game, so this seems like a good time.
Sounds good.
I'll do that. Now if I can remember how to roll dice on this thing. So you said 3 purple dice.
Correct.
1, 2, 3. And then I don't add anything else because my blue die will automatically be added when I roll my skills. Yes?
You should add a second blue die if you're going to take the strain.
I should add a second blue die if I'm going to take the strain. All right.
You should just add 1 to your roller. You have
Right.
1 on your skill list on your sheet, and then just add 1 more to the dice roller at the top.
Got it. All right.
And then you click the dice on the skill you want to
Right.
roll.
Did that work?
There you go. Uh-huh.
Did I do it right?
You did.
Did it help? Did I get good stuff? Yes, maybe.
You succeeded. You said the first thing you said you were looking for was an additional exit.
Yes.
So, and you have an advantage, which means that you can add to the narrative of it. To make this easier, what I will say that you see is essentially the emergency exit for a space sci-fi hotel, which is a jump pack out a window. So there's, instead of a ladder or a fire escape, you have a pack that is essentially a cool parachute that you can throw on your back and jump out the window and not have to worry about getting harmed, making it to the ground. As
But we
one
only-
way to escape. No, you have enough for the room. So
Okay.
there's 4, 6, 8. You have an advantage. You could tell me how many there are precisely, or you can spend it on something else if you wish. You can take suggestions from the group if you want.
Guys, any ideas? Should I use the advantage here or should I use the advantage for maybe something else? If he's saying that we'll definitely have enough jump packs for all of us, we could say we only have enough jump packs for exactly us. Or we could say we have however many jump packs he says we have, and we could use the advantage to set off the fire alarms or something. I don't know.
Did we manage to do any investigation before we did this? I mean, are there clues in this building that we need that we're going to be skipping out if we jump out of here?
I don't think we're caring about clues right now. We're gonna die. So,
Well, I mean,
we're
Yeah,
gonna
mission
die.
above all, though, right?
that's my guy. I think we'll be okay. All right.
Lizzie's priority at this point, I mean, she cares about the mission, but she cares about her friends more. So, she doesn't want to see anybody die so that she can solve. I mean, she'll catch up with her client later. They'll figure it out.
You can, just for time's sake, you can add a blue dice to whichever NPC goes, or whichever PC goes next. And just say that they have a generic blue dice to their roll.
Oh, instead of saying that we found a flamethrower. Because oh man.
That might take a triumph or despair.
What about hairspray and a lighter?
I mean,
I don't have hair.
Right, but this isn't our hotel suite. It's
You
my
can find
client.
hairspray and a lighter if you want. It won't do the damage of a flamethrower, but it certainly will be something you can use narratively to impact the game.
I'm for it.
The time is nigh.
Paul, you said
No, I think getting out is probably a good option. I mean, I could probably take out.
Well, we can see. So Jessica, Lizzie throws over her cover, sees the emergency jetpacks, and hairspray and a lighter fall out of the cabinet she's pushed over. They're on the ground in front of her.
She definitely grabs those.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. You know the deal here. Subscribe to stay tuned to our misadventures. If you enjoyed us, give us a like and hit that bell icon. And of course, keep us honest on the rules and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time on the Dicey Cantina.